One time, I was in Yeshiva Katana, Philadelphia. What an amazing yeshiva. It's so beautiful here. What a nice building. Now, this past Sunday, I was invited to a very big mall. I don't know if you ever heard about it. It's not the Japanese dream. It's not the Israeli dream, but it's called the American Dream Mall. And I was doing a story, a podcast, and one of the stores over there is actually a Jewish store called The Address. And after I finished over there, the owner of the mall, you can imagine, this mall costed, I don't know, maybe even close to $1 billion. Who knows? Millions and millions of dollars to make this mall. And the owner of the mall was right there. His name is Don Gurmazian. He has a few other malls in America. So when I see somebody that's successful, hey, I want to grow. I want to be successful. So I ran over to him and I said, I'm collecting wisdom. To teach me something that I could do to become a greater person. So the first thing he says, he looks at me and he says, okay, you want to know? Someone did something not nice to you. Fill your heart with love towards that person. Right? Very hard thing to do. Someone did something not nice to you. Someone took away your snacks. Don't let him do that. But if he did, fill up your heart with love towards that person, and Hashem will shower you with bracha. And then he says, and then you have to read this book. This book, it's called Shlomi by ArtScroll, about this person, Shlomo Gross. He says, come with me, I'll get you this book. So The Address is a store that has a bunch of different stores inside of it. And there's ArtScroll has a store over there. So he comes with me, he gets the book called Shlomi, he writes in a whole thing in the front, and he says, read this book from cover to cover. So I brought the book home, and I'm reading it, and it's interesting, but wasn't like pulling my attention so much. I was reading it one page, the next, and then finally last night I was up to page 116 and I saw the story that I was looking for. And I never shared this story, but I want to share it right here with the Yeshiva Katana, Philadelphia. Here we go. One time. Yonason, 8 years old, living in Mea She'arim, Eretz Yisrael. 2 fingers if you ever went to Eretz Yisrael before. Okay, nice. Wow. A nice amount of boys. He's living in Eretz Yisrael, Mea She'arim, but when he was 8 years old, his mother got sick with Yena Machla, with cancer. His mother was in and out of the hospital. He's only 8 years old. 2 years later, his mother passed away. Only 10 years old, and it was very difficult for him, you can imagine, and his father was also not there for him so much. Basically, he was living alone. His sisters moved out to different relatives, and he was basically alone by himself. Very lonely childhood. Didn't have a mother. His father wasn't there for him so much. He went through school, had a very tough time through school. When he was 19, he was read a shidduch in America. A girl from America, they spoke on the phone. He goes to America, didn't speak a word of English. But this girl also was able to converse with him in Hebrew. They went out on a few shidduch dates, and boom, they got married. They were married only for a few months, and it didn't work out. The marriage didn't work out, but now he's in America. He didn't have enough money to go back to Eretz Yisrael. He's stuck in America. He barely has any money. He was a very funny person, and he wanted to be a batchen, a comedian, by Hasidish weddings. If you boys are familiar, after the wedding is over, let's say 12 o'clock at night, then there's something called mitzvah dance, where all the guests come up, the relatives come up, and they dance with like holding onto a gartel, the collar holds onto the other side, and they call up each guest. But the way they call them up, I didn't even realize it, but the reason they call them up in a funny way. And the reason why is because it goes till 3 o'clock in the morning, and who wants to sit there just listening to, we'd like to call upon Uncle Yosef to come up. Okay, Uncle Yosef. But if it's funny, or be like, you know, Uncle Yosef one time was sliding on chicken soup on the highway, like, oh, okay, I want to hear this, right? So he was a very funny person, and he was able to make jokes and be a batchen by weddings, but nobody wanted to hire him because who wants to hire an Israeli guy that doesn't speak English? Nobody wanted to hire him, and he couldn't get a job. He had no money. He couldn't pay his rent. He had to start going from shul to shul collecting money. This person, Yonason. One day he's at a shul in Flatbush, and the Rav of the shul is called his name is Rabbi Avram Shor. He's at the shul collecting, and somebody goes over to him and it says, "You see that guy over there? The guy's name is Shlomo Gross, big Baal Chesed. Go over to that guy and see if he could help you out. He's a very big Baal Tzedakah, gives a lot of money to Tzedakah, millions of dollars." So he goes over to him. This guy, Yonason, goes over to Shlomo Gross, and he says, "I want you to help me, but I don't even want your money." And Shlomo Gross says, "What do you mean?" He says, "I want to be a batchen. I want to be a comedian, but nobody wants to hire me." So Shlomo Gross says, "Okay, let me see. Tell me a joke. Tell me something." So he tells him a joke. I don't know which one, but he tells him a joke. And he says, "Okay." Shlomo Gross says, "I'm actually making a Shever Brachas tomorrow night. I want you to be the batchen, make jokes by the Shever Brachas." So Yonason says, okay, it's his first job in America. He prepared the whole entire day. The whole next day, he's preparing all his top jokes. And by the Shever Brachas, he's very nervous. He's about to perform. He didn't have so much confidence, right? His self-esteem was very low. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the Shever Brachas, Shlomo Gross gets up and he says, "Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we like to call upon the batchen of the century, Yonason, come on up." And Yonason comes up to the front, and now the way he introduced him, it just built his confidence, right? He built him up. He says a few jokes, and people are laughing. And it went very well. That night went very well. After that, Shlomo Gross, whenever he heard of someone that is having a wedding, he said, "You got to get Yonason. You got to get Yonason." And slowly but surely, Yonason was getting jobs by weddings. One wedding, the next wedding, until he was booked every single night. And he started flying around the world to the greatest rebbes. The greatest rabbis wanted Yonason by the wedding. He became so successful, he didn't stop there. He wanted to sell toys for kids. I believe because he had a very tough childhood and he wanted to be misameach children, he decided to open up a toy store. He opened up a toy store, and the toy store you boys probably heard of. He opened up 5 stores. Till today, he has 5 toy stores. My mother works for him. This 8-year-old boy that came from Eretz Yisrael, my mother works for him. And the toys we give out by Yavah Subanim is from his store. His name is Yonason Schwartz. Familiar? Yonason Schwartz? And till today, he's a comedian, he's a batchen, he makes jokes around the world, and he has toy stores, 5 toy stores called Toys to Discover.
We Toys to Discover very special toys for Hanukkah. For example, if I want to reach in here, take a light for Hanukkah, put it in my ear, take it out from this ear, I smell it, then it goes into my nose, and then then I take it out from here, put it into this pocket, then I take it out from this pocket, I put it into this pocket, I take it out to this pocket, and then I actually put it right inside here, and it's actually gone after you look at it. Then it comes right back out from here, and again, it's gone. Then you basically reach it out of your pocket, smell it again, it goes into your nose, and then we have other tricks also if you want. I have some amazing thing for you if you want. I developed a very special toy. 1 second, please. 1 second. Toys to Discover, can I help you? That's correct. Okay, if you don't mind, hold on, please. Sure, thank you. I developed like a little thing that you bounce. You just drop a ball, it comes right back to you. And, I know that people are not so impressed, but I'll drop it again. And actually, you could try to do that and that doesn't work for you. You know why? Because after 3 times it expires. You have to put some energy. If you put energy in it, then boom, right by it bounces right there. Then once the energy is expired, you can bounce it and it doesn't work anymore. Actually, only the Toys to Discover. Watch, try it again. Now put energy in it a little bit and then it will work again. Thank you very much.
Boys, are you familiar with that? That's the owner of Toys to Discover. Not only that, I didn't even know this, but 80% of the toys that are sold in his store, he makes it. He makes the toys, meaning, let's say Magna-Tiles, the world famous Magna-Tiles. To buy about 100 pieces of Magna-Tiles, right? A box comes 100 pieces, is about $120. But he wants everyone to be able to afford it. And especially some people have large houses, they need a lot of it. He found out if he could produce the same thing. He spoke to his lawyer. They said, there's no problem, you can copy it. He went to China. He made it in a stronger way. He made it that's more durable. He charges $40, $50 for the same thing they would charge $120. And he sold thousands and thousands of Magna-Tiles. Another item that is his, that he sells around the world is, I think it's called like Kinder Menschie. Little Menchies that, this Kinder Menschie, this guy from Eretz Yisrael, this kid that came from Eretz Yisrael, he makes it. He's the one that goes to China, he makes it. Now 1 second, who gets the credit for all of this? That guy Shlomo Gross that offered him to come to his own house to be a batzkin by his Sheva Brachas, he gets the credit for the toys that you have in your house and all the simcha that you boys have and all the things around the world that Yonasan's doing. Shlomo Gross gets the credit for that. 2 fingers if you understand that. So many times, you don't have to have money to help people. You could help somebody with, let me hold the door open for you. Let me give you something. You can do so much by giving to somebody and help them in such a big way. So this guy, Shlomo Gross, that just offered him that one thing, boom, changed his whole life around, and how many lives were affected till today. It's an amazing thing.